Good morning, one and all. So today we are going to see the classification of op-amp. So you can just see the table. This is the characterization of CMOS op-amp. How the op-amp is divided based on the stages. So here we are having two stages. This is the first voltage stage and this is the second voltage stage. And these two stages comes under the current stage. Means here we will be taking the voltage to current classification, and here we will be taking to current to voltage classification. So you can take the conversion types here in this table. In the first block you can see here the voltage is converted to current. Here the current is converted to voltage. Again in the second block you can see voltage to current as well as current to voltage. So you can see the hierarchy of the CMOS op-amp. It consists of the classic differential amplifiers and the modified differential amplifiers. So under these two categories you will be getting in the second stage here current mirror, here source or sink current load, and this is the MOS diode load. So this is the second stage, and here voltage to current conversion. This is called as a transconductance grounded gate and transconducted grounded source. And in the output stage you will be seeing the class A amplifiers and the class B amplifiers. Class A amplifier you can use the source or sink load, and for class B you will be using the push-pull amplifiers. And the next one you can see here, the design of the op-amp. Means what are the specifications that are required for designing of a op-amp. So these are the specifications required or taken into account while designing a general op-amp. Those are the gain bandwidth, settling time, slew rate, input common mode range, that is ICMR, common mode rejection ratio CMRR, power supply rejection ratio PSRR, output voltage swing, output resistance, offset, noise and layout area. So these are some of the specifications that you have to take into account when designing a basic op-amp. And you can see here the compensation of op-amp. The next topic is the compensation of the op-amp. So here high gain op-amps generally uses the negative feedback configuration. So you are using the feedback concept. Here again I am just recalling the feedback concept. You will be having a positive feedback and a negative feedback. So here you are using a negative feedback amplifier concept. So here you can see the high gain amplifier which is shown here. It has a open loop gain, that is AS, and the feedback element FS. So FS is the feedback element and AS is the open loop gain. And here you can see the output function. This output function is taken as negative for the, you are using a negative feedback here. So AS and FS. So the gain of the negative feedback system, which feedback is written as, what is the gain? My AF is nothing but the gain factor. The gain factor, AF for the negative feedback is taken as, what is the gain? Output by input. So here you will be taking the values output by input. So these are the magnitude and phase shift for this condition. You can see the magnitude and phase shift of the open loop gain. So we are here, this is called as a Barkhausen criteria. So you know the condition for the oscillation. So in order to get the stable oscillation, the oscillator has to satisfy the Barkhausen criteria. In which the phase shift must be either 0 degrees or 360 degrees. And the gain should be equal to 1. So these are the two conditions of the Barkhausen criteria, which shows that the amplifier is going to operate as a perfect oscillator. So these are the two conditions. The phase shift should be either 0 degrees or 360 degrees, and the gain or magnitude of the gain should be equal to 1. So by this you can say that it is satisfying the Barkhausen criterion. So you can see the frequency, and here for sustained oscillation you can see the graph where omega d is this omega is defined as the frequency for which the loop gain is unity. You can see this where the loop gain is equal to 1. So you can see here the two conditions here. You can see when it is less than 1, the magnitude of gain is less than 1, where omega naught is defined as the frequency for which the phase loop gain is 0. Means when the phase loop gain, frequency for the phase loop gain is 0, you can see that the phase shift is equal to 0 and the gain here is less than 1. And when the loop gain is unity, means when it is 0, it is less than 1 and here it is 0 degrees. When it is unity, it is the phase shift is greater than 0 and the gain is 1. So these are the frequency and phase response for this general op-amp. You can just note down the frequency and phase shift response here. So this is the small signal equivalent circuit for the general op-amp. You can see the small signal equivalent. So here the small signal equivalent, here we will be taking the poles here. You can see the resistance to the ground seen from output of the first stage here, and this is the second stage. So you can see this one P1 and P2 are the poles of the differential and output stages. Okay, means P1 is for the differential, means here what it will be used at the input stage, and this P2 will be used at the output stage. So these are the poles for P1 and P2 at the input and output stage, and you can see the resistance value R1, okay, and R2, C1 and C2. So here you can see this is R1, but it is not R1. Some printing mistake has taken it as R2. R1 is seen from the output of the first stage, and R2 it is seen for the second stage, same as for these capacitors. And you can hear the Miller compensation of two-stage op-amp. We are using a Miller compensation capacitor CC, which is connected between the input and the output stage. Here you can see this is called as a compensation capacitor, which is connected at the input and the output stage here. So this compensation capacitor increases the capacitive element, okay, capacitance present between the parallel to the resistor. Means it is going to increase the capacitance effect by using this compensation capacitor. So the overall transfer function, you can see the transfer function for this by using this Miller capacitor is nothing but the output by input, and you can take here where you can take what the gain value. Okay, here you can see the pole. The pole can be shifted towards the origin or it is shifting away from the origin. So here two parameters are taking place, or two conditions are taking place. When P1, when the pole P1 is towards the origin, then it is given as in this form, and when it is away from the origin. So what is GM here? Here GM is the transconductance, and R1 or R2 are the resistance at the first stage and the second stage, and CC is the compensation capacitance. Here P2 is the pole where it is shifting away from the origin. So when you are taking the condition as C2 greater than CC, which is greater than C1, then it can be written as what now, that the pole 2 condition is taken as the transconductance at the output stage by the capacitor at the output stage. So these I'll just explain using this diagrams now. Once I'll just show you all. I think this video will end for just 15 minutes, so I'll prepare another one, but here so you can see here by using this compensation. Okay, so here we'll be taking the dominant left half pole. Okay, so here in this dominant left half pole, you can see here it is called as a Miller pole. Okay, it is created as CC. This is connected. You can see here. This is connected here, and you can take this equation. This is multiplied by the gain of the second stage. So, what is the gain of the second stage, ma? The gain is G2R2 to give a capacitor in parallel with R1. So, we are giving this capacitor in parallel with R1 of the value G2 R2 C2. So the multiplication of capacitance R1 times and inverting gives, means we are calculating the pole 1, means P1 is at the differential side when we are connecting this capacitor here, compensation capacitor, and this is called as a dominant left half plane pole. Okay, and here when you will be seeing the left half plane output pole, it is called as a output pole. So it is called as the first one is called as a Miller pole, and the second one is called as a output pole. When C2 is equal to CL, means what? That is the load capacitors, which is connected at the output side. Okay, so then you can take this value P2. Here it is the P1 is the input side and this P2 is the output side. So you can take this P2 value here, and this is called as a right half plane pole. You can see it is used to boost the loop magnitude while decreasing the phase. So what is the main function of this right half plane pole? It is used to boost the loop magnitude with decreasing the phase shift here, and you can see the by using the superposition path, the RHS 0 pole, means we will be taking the V out by using the superposition. You can just note down the equation, these two equations, V out equation. So in the next video we will see the next part. Okay.